Today we're reviewing the Wilson Ultra Pro, 1619 string pattern and 305 grams in weight. As well as being pretty saucy to look at, this racket is all about control. I've strung it up with the Nordic Dots power string at about 54 pounds. So I'm testing all my rackets at the minute with pretty much the same tension. They're around 54 pounds. So we'll see how the string and the racket performs. So we're also testing out the Nordic Dots tennis balls, the all-court tennis balls, as they say on the wall. We're going to see how they do. Right, let's get into the racket review. Yeah, straight away, there's definitely an element of control about this racket. I'm not really getting loads of pop. It's a bit more, oh yeah, old school. Comparing it to the Aero 98, which I used the other day, whoa, it's definitely got a lot less juice on it. But saying that, it is more of an old school type of racket. Yeah, really suits those flatter, almost straight through the ball strokes, instead of the Aero or the Head Extreme, which was way more about spin. Saying that, it's not too bad for power. It's really crisp on the slice though. I'd say the best thing about this racket is the feeling in the hand. I expected this to be stiff. I expected it to be quite hard to use, but it's actually pretty forgiving and it feels really sweet. It feels like the frame has got real substance to it. It feels like it's got real quality. And I feel like because of the weight, it's 305 grams. Obviously, these rackets are designed for pros and to be built. It's all right. They're designed to be built up more. So you would add more weight to this frame for sure to give it a bit more juice. And it's headlight so that it's easily customizable. I'm amazed I got that word out all in one go. So yeah, but because of the headlight nature of the racket, you can spec it up to whatever suits you. Ah, bollocks. She's not slacking, falling asleep. Yeah, I'm actually quite a big fan of this racket. I'm just not sure whether it has like a real place in the modern game. Thinner beam, more geared towards control. Everyone these days is going up in power, up in spin. Like comparing this to the Aero 98, completely different rackets, but how much pop that was giving me, how much spin, I'm not sure that the benefits of switching to this racket would be more, if that makes sense. Should we go again? We go. Oh, don't know how I managed to time that late. Yeah, sorry. Definitely need to just relax with this for a little bit because of the less power, definitely forcing the ball a little bit more. Yeah, I can see that this straightaway is definitely geared for players who like to move up the court more, play with more feel, like those annoying guys that are just so talented, they can chip it around and place the ball whenever they want. Oh yeah. Ah, that would have looked so good. What the f is that? I know, I'm sorry to the subscribers. I'm just not that good. Yeah, I can feel like transitioning forward with this racket is like it's natural, you know, it's where it's supposed to be. You know, I don't feel like from the baseline, I don't feel like I'm doing anything revolutionary with it. I feel like there's definitely a sense that it is a bit low powered from the back, but extreme. Ah, that would have worked way better if I made it, but extreme control when moving forward. So I'll just try and sneak into the net in a minute and hit a few volleys if I can get a nice short ball to make myself look really good. There we go. Hey, hey. Ah, then trip over, do that and then trip over a tennis ball. Is it right if I just have a few of the vols? Yeah. Sorry. Ah. I reckon even this thing could make me look like I know what I'm doing at the net. Hey. Yeah, it's very crisp. Go on, test me. Just put one through me. Ah, not around me, through me. There we go, come on. Let me show how maneuverable this thing is. Ah, gonna pretend like the light at the back was, you know, distracting me. That's a nice ball. Ah, you dirty. Ah, no, swung at that. Yeah. When I'm actually playing well with it, it's a dream to play with at the net. I just feel like, because it's a bit low powered, I feel like I'm forcing things just a little bit. That was in for the camera. Are you saying that my movement was lazy at the net? Is it right if I just have one or two smashes? Yeah, not. Yeah, I mean, I'm a firm believer that you can smash well with any racket. But to be fair, this at stock weight is actually pretty dreamy for the smash. It's like swinging around a toothpick. You can adjust it so easily. There we go. I'm done showing off. But yeah, like I get this racket, obviously. Like I've played with similar rackets before, you know, the 90, things like that. But yeah, my question is, like, if it suits your game, great. But I feel like this is for a very specific type of player. Sorry. It's very difficult to play with this racket if you're purely playing from the back of the court. I feel like you have to have an element of moving forward and taking the ball on. I enjoy it. I think it's a really sweet racket to play with. The feedback is just fantastic. Get it out the middle, it feels dreamy. And like I say, it's not as unforgiving as I thought it was going to be. Woo. Maybe cut that one out. Yeah, 100% when I'm serving this racket does perform really well. I feel like the Ultra Pro is almost made for the serve volleyer, the serve looking to come forward. I always find that rackets like this, which have a thinner beam, you know, the slightly smaller head size, but yeah, it's all about precision, it's all about control. So as someone who doesn't struggle to generate power on their serve, I feel like this really helps me to just home in and nail my spots. But yeah, definitely would recommend it if you're someone who's got a big serve, someone who's, you know, able to generate their own power, but they need that bit of control just to, you know, pull it in a little bit. I think this is definitely a good option. One really interesting thing actually about the wide serve on the Deuce, I feel like I was able to get such a short angle, so much control, so much spin, which I actually wasn't expecting. I felt like on the serve this was going to be quite stiff. I felt like it was going to be hard to, you know, get anything out of, which I was actually quite nicely surprised by it, how well it did perform. Second serve, you know, I did feel like I didn't get that much spin out of it. I felt like my body serve was way more effective because it was almost sliding into people a bit more. Obviously, I've switched to the head extreme, so I'm getting a lot of juice out my second serve now. So compared to that, this didn't really perform amazingly on the second serve, but the first serve, I was very impressed. So we've just finished the play test with the Wilson Ultra Pro. My honest thoughts on this racket, so sweet to play with, far more forgiving than I thought. It's a lot less powerful than I was expecting. There's so much control on this racket. Playing from the back of the court, it felt like I didn't really get a lot out of it. But then the further I moved towards the net, fantastic. I was volleying a dream with this thing. I feel like this is built for players who are, one, advanced, hence the Pro, and secondly, have the game style where they like to move forward, they play with a lot of feel. It's going to accentuate the control that people have on the ball. I feel like if you're demanding more power, more spin, look in that direction. I'll go and get them then. That was meant to be a really smooth shot, but yeah, if you're demanding a little bit more power, a little bit more spin, I would go for one of these two frames, or even the blade. It's a nice in between. It's still got that stiff element of control to it with a bit of extra power, a bit of extra spin. But in my opinion, I feel like there's a reason why players are moving towards these sorts of rackets, because the game is becoming more and more all court. It's not just played from the net, or one style isn't going to be almost good enough. If you're just a serve and volleyer, you need a bit of everything. And I think that if you're just playing from the baseline, it's even not enough. I think you need the ability to move forward. So I think that the rackets seem to be aligning more and more towards being able to play everywhere in the court. So I think it's really important to try and match the racket basically to how you play. If you play with a lot of control, if you play with, you know, you want to move forwards to the net, I think the Ultra is a perfect option. I think that if you play from the back, you want more spin, you want more power, but you also want a little bit more control. I feel like these rackets are perfect. Quick review on the string. So I've tried this string a few times in other rackets, other frames. It's the Nordic Dots Power String 128, so it's a 128 gauge, which it's right in the middle of, you know, those finer kind of 125s and the 130s, which are thicker, more durable. So I feel like this is quite a nice blend of power and also spin. It does pop off the racket quite nicely. And I do think that it does complement this frame quite well, because obviously this frame is built more for control, and then you add a power string in there as well just to boost it up a little bit and give it a bit more juice. So yeah, I did enjoy playing with this string. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. The Nordic Dots balls, how did they perform? So we did actually destroy them a little bit. We were playing for 2 hours and we were absolutely ripping the shit out of them. But I thought they were good. They almost got better towards the middle of when we were playing with them. In the beginning, obviously we're playing on indoor carpet. They do fly quite a lot. Any ball flies when they're new on indoor carpet. But yeah, I was actually really enjoying playing with these, especially when they fluffed up a little bit and, you know, they got a bit bigger. They were nice to play with, and I don't think that they've officially died. We were hitting it big, we were hitting it hard. You know, we've played for nearly 2 hours, probably just over 2 hours. Yeah, and they've survived pretty well. So yeah, I would recommend. I'm looking forward to getting a few of these off All Things Tennis. But yeah, I'm going to be playing with these a lot more in the future.